and we enhance it so that it can give us this new information of what the cat is saying. So out of the box, those models can just tell you that they heard a cat sound. Well, we want it to go a step further and tell us what was the intention behind that sound.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Coffee and Crazy People. I'm really excited to have Javier with us today. He is one of the founders of MeowTalk. It is an app for all you guys who may or may not have seen it, where you can talk to your cat. So I totally recommend downloading it. I've got a few clips on my Instagram if you guys are interested, me and conversations with my cats, but we'll save that for later. Welcome again, Javier. Why don't you give us a little introduction about yourself and how you got into the app business?
Oh, yeah, thank you. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me on. Yes, so my background is in security engineering and then software development, project management. But along the way, I took a detour from consulting, which is where I was, for like the past 10 years or so, and went and worked for Amazon Alexa and the data science team specifically. And while I was there, I got to see what the process was for building those sort of platforms. And I left, went back to consulting, and then I heard an NPR episode of a lady, Dr. Schultz, talking about the secret language of cats. She was promoting her book. And I was thinking, wow, someone should make an app for that. Like, you can translate cat meows. I know you can if they have a language and a linguistic expert says that it exists, you can make an app for that. So that's where it started. That was about 5 years ago, as an idea. And the real vision was that a cat would be wearing a device. It would walk into the room with a device, the cat would meow, and then from the device you would hear Samuel L. Jackson's voice. That is exactly what I wanted. I still want that to this day. I want my cat.
That sounds fantastic. Can I throw Snoop Dogg in there as well?
Anybody else? The vision is like any voice you want. Yeah, any voice you want, but that was the voice I want. I still want it now. So okay, well, fast forward a couple of years, we the consulting company I was working with, we decided to kind of work together to prototype this app, and that was in August of 2020, I believe. I'll have to double check my math. Lo and behold, 3 months later, it went viral. After just a couple of news articles, it just exploded. And we decided to turn it into its own company, which is MeowTalk LLC. So that's my background story of how I got into the app business. It's kind of a great idea turned into like a viral sensation, and there you go.
And there he has it, right? Mm-hmm. Has feet and grows. That's awesome. I think it's a really cool app. So are you a cat person? Is that?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about. Person, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we always have this like fine line where people want to say you're one or the other, but most of the time, if you're an animal person, you're an animal person, right?
Yeah, I think that's right. No, that's right. Yeah. The only thing worse than a crazy cat person is a crazy cat dog person. So that's me. I have a dog now. I didn't before, but I got lots of cats. I got one dog, but I've got six cats.
So how many cats do you have, and how many conversations a day do you use the app?
Too many. Yeah. So for me, the app is meant for different types of people for different reasons. There are some people that just don't know anything about cats, and the app is really helpful for them because they can't tell the difference between maybe some of the more subtle vocalizations. But for me, I've been around my cats so long, I don't need the app to translate what they want. I know exactly what they want, and it doesn't help me out. But I'm in the minority group of people that really understand their cats and don't need the app. I'd say most people do need it to some degree. Yeah, I talk to my cats all the time. I got 5 in the house and one that prefers to stay outside. And some of them are chatty, some of them aren't, but I talk to all of them, and they all have their own personalities and voices, which is really,
That's
really awesome.
really interesting too in the app, because I have three and I've used it with all three of them, and they tend to like say similar things but different ways, which I found really interesting, the way the app picks up on that. What's some of the more curious conversations that you've seen happen on or through the MeowTalk app?
Sure. So one of the benefits of the app, so the app out of the box can translate 13 different vocalizations, and these vocalizations, they're not really words, but you can think of them as words, are universal across all house cats around the world. Think of them as the sounds you would make if like you hit your foot or you got excited. You know, no matter where you are in the world, you'd know that someone was caught off guard and they went ah, or they stubbed their toe and they went ouch. Cats have similar types of vocalizations to express their intents, but we can go beyond those 13. We think there's up to 20. We can train the app on more than that, because cats also have the ability to develop their own vocabulary. So most people don't know that, but cats can develop their own vocalizations, words for specific things. And those are for just their owner. So they could have like a meow for feed me and a meow for open the door, or a meow for give me my toys. And you can train the app to learn those unique words of your cat, if you know it or if you suspect it. So it can help you explore your cat's unique vocabulary too. So I've done that. So I'm kind of leading up to what these interesting conversations are that I'm having with my cats. So I've done that with one of my cats, and I discovered a few words of hers that I didn't know were there before. And then I can use that to help me understand what she wants. So if she wants to go outside, which I don't let them do anymore, but if she wants to go outside, but we're not near the door, then the context is gone, and I can use the app, like if I'm in the bedroom or somewhere in the house, I can use the app to understand what she's asking for outside of the context of the back kitchen door or the front door or something like that. So those are interesting to me when finding and discovering those vocabularies.
I was kind of taken back when my cat threatened me one time on the app.
You got to take it seriously.
I was like, are we about to box? Like, what is happening here?
Yeah, you got to take it seriously. Those cats don't play around.
They do not. So she has a very terrible habit of sitting by the bed, and so I ignore her. And so I had the app open. I'm sitting here, and like she meowed, and it's like, I'm really upset with you right now. I can't remember exactly what the term was that it pulled up, but I was pretty impressed, because I could see it on her face. Like, I've been around cats all my life, so I feel like I've also developed an understanding of how they communicate. And yes, they're all a little different. So, she's 13. We spent a lot of time together. I kind of know when what she's asking for when she's talking to me. But it was like the perfect response to her, like just being so frustrated that I was ignoring her. So I find it really curious, like how the technology works. And I'm not savvy, in terms of the AI and how these things pick up. So I'd love for you to give me a very layman's
and I can do that.
Explanation of like how that works.
Yeah, so there aren't really a lot of secrets to how we do this. You can find online where we have video discussions and documents that describe like the process. We don't use a secret, a super secretive process. The secret is in our data. We have the data that can let us build these artificial intelligence models, but everything else is we're just using very standard Google technologies for building these models. But long story short, we have a master set of sounds that represent each category of vocalization, like mommy, where are you? Stay away, I'm resting, so on and so forth. We have that collection of sounds, and we use that data to train a model that's provided by Google. So we take a standard Google model and a standard Google technology, and we enhance it so that it can give us this new information of what the cat is saying. So out of the box, those models can just tell you that it heard a cat sound. Well, we want it to go a step further and tell us what was the intention behind that sound. And that's what those models will let you do. Once you train them on the data, they will let you, they will tell you what the cat is trying to tell you. So, okay, that's that in a nutshell, that's what we do. And we do that in the app in real time. So that's the magic part of it. Like as soon as your cat meows, you get a translation. And our translations, it depends on the category, but the accuracy can be anywhere from like 65% all the way up to like 99% accurate, depending on the category. So for example, purrs, we get that right 99.9% of the time. But there's others that are harder, especially dealing with like stress detection. And those will be closer to the 70% accuracy. So overall, we're looking at, accuracy in the 70s for our translations.
I don't know if you can hear my cat behind me meowing.
No, I can't.
Good.
Well, but if I can, I'll let you know what she's saying.
I know what she's saying. She's saying, "Open this door and let me hear."
She wants to come in. Gotta
go. But the minute I let her in, she's gonna want to go out. So.
Oh yeah, I have a cat like that too. That's the one that wants to stay out all the time. She'll come in, and then 5 minutes later, she wants to go outside. It's a little bad.
Yeah, that's another controversial cat topic, letting them out. So you did mention
I know. I'm
okay
okay with it. I know the advice these days is cats really don't belong outside. It's too dangerous, and they destroy like the bird and rodent wildlife. But I've always grown up with letting my cats in and out. But I'm starting to lean more towards just keeping the ones I have in, mainly because I don't want them to get fleas and other stuff like that.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough call. I actually lost one recently because I'm an indoor-outdoor cat, and I knew the risks I was taking.
That's true. I have lost a few cats too over the years. It's been a while, but yeah, like they'll either get into trouble, they get attacked by whatever, a coyote. That's really big. That's a big deal in Texas. They're just, and then people just take them too. Like it's
they sure do. We had actually on the Nextdoor app in the neighborhood, somebody was ranting the other day. They were like, "I know somebody's locking my cat in their house. She has a home. Let my cat out so she can come back."
Come back, yeah. That's true. That's true.
I know. Cats are fickle, and they will have multiple families. I had one growing up that lived at my house 3 days a week and around the corner the rest of the week.
So funny story. This is about 2 years ago now. Someone was posting pictures in the neighborhood that their cat was missing. I was like, wow, that looks exactly like my cat. And it took us a long time to figure it out because we were like, man, I hope she finds her cat. And then we got some piece of information and we connected the dots. Oh, that's our cat. It's just not going to her house anymore. So yeah, someone thought they lost our cat. I guess that was kind of weird.
Oh, that is funny.
Well, she can have it. Like,
it's one less your outdoor cat.
Yeah.
This is the outdoor cat that you currently have that's roaming free.
Yeah, pretty much.
They tend to do that. So you started in the securities, and then you're now into developing businesses. What do you do? What else do you do in your free time?
Well, that's quite a bit. I mean, I'm trying to juggle, quite a few projects these days, but I'm all tapped out. Starting up a new venture, which I'm more than happy to talk about. We can dedicate a podcast just for that, just because it'll deserve its own. But yeah, I want to take this idea as far as possible. So I'm working on those ideas as well. So yeah, I mean, aside from work, which is like 90% of what I do, I've got 2 kids and I got, family, and I'm up here in the Northwest. It's real beautiful up here. You've seen the Breaking Dawn, or what is it? The vampire movies with
the Twilight.
Yeah. Have you seen the Twilight movies? Yeah, that's what
it looks like in your neck of the woods. That's pretty nice.
It's Seattle. Yeah, it's real nice. I mean,
tiny.
Let's see. Like that's.
Like
real pretty.
It is pretty nice springtime colors going on out there.
Oh yeah, it's a magnolia tree, man. It's blooming up. Of Cool. Yeah. So that's it. Do some volunteer work at my son's high school. I was in the Big Brothers Big Sisters program for a long time, for like 12, 13 years. Finally, the kid that they pair you with, they call him Littles. He's not little no more. He's like 100 pounds heavier than me, a little bit taller than me now. Went from 5 to 18, and went that. So yeah.
Now he's your big brother, huh?
Yeah. Now he's protecting me. Yeah. Real nice. Like he's at the University of Washington, just a 10-minute walk from here. So got to
That's
see him go
awesome.
through the whole process. So yeah, I do volunteer work when I can, and but right now, yeah, I'm just completely saturated with trying to start a whole new business.
How has that been, like juggling the balance between family and work? It's something that, I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs about. So just
Yeah.
curious, like, how do you manage the stress and navigating and trying to find that balance?
Yeah. I wish I could say that I have a good system for managing the balance, but it's kind of just whatever's urgent kind of just jumps to the top. So I do try to put a system in place where I get outside and I do my walk, and I spend time with the family periodically. My wife also helps out with trying to schedule sort of these family time sort of things and activities. But in short, my family just we all just kind of we're all in the same house, but we kind of just keep to ourselves. So we don't really bug each other a whole lot. Like, hey, let's do stuff as a family. And plus, my kids are already getting a lot older now. They're 13.
They don't want to hang out with mom and dad anymore.
Yeah, now it's getting to the point where they're like, oh wow, my dad doesn't know everything, and he's not actually cool. He's actually. So they're at the point where like they don't need me as much as they, and I can get away with being a little bit more selfish with my time.
I'm looking forward to it, to be honest. I can't wait
right.
till I can be a little more selfish.
I know. No, it wasn't the case, 5-10 years ago, but
Right.
now it's becoming a little bit more the case.
So you are originally from Texas, correct?
Yep.
Do you miss Texas?
Some things, some of the foods I miss. Obviously, the family as well. All of my family's there, and there's not like 5 or 10 of them. There's like hundreds, are all over Texas, but mostly concentrated around the Houston area and the San Antonio area as well. No, I miss it. I like the weather up here in the Northwest a lot better. But mom, dad, uncles, aunts, cousins are all friends, high school friends are all in Texas. So I don't miss the humidity, and I don't miss the it's like bird-sized cockroaches flying around.
The mosquitoes. I imagine mosquitoes are a little
and the
different.
mosquitoes. Yeah, I get 1 or 2 mosquitoes in my home here a year, like literally just 1 or 2. And in Texas, obviously, you go like 8 months with mosquitoes. Sometimes it's so bad you can't even sit outside on the porch. Yeah.
Yeah, so, it's already pretty bad in our backyard. I was like, oh, it's not even.
Mosquitoes. Yeah, we have our own problems up here too. Like it's not just all
Yeah. What's the equivalent, mosquito equivalent in?
Oh yeah, something that's annoying and bad. Well, we have windstorms, but in the Houston area we have hurricanes regularly, so those are kind of equal each other out. What else is bad that's up here? I don't know. I'll have to think about it. The windstorms was a big one. The gloomy weather, there's a lot more of that. It's not as bad as people think, but we don't have the amount of sunshine for as long as other parts of the country do. So that might probably be like right at the top of the list. And it can rain for a long period of time, like weeks and weeks, like day after day for a couple of weeks. Doesn't happen often, but it does, and that can break you psychologically.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Being stuck in the house, you just want to go out and do something, but it's just raining. It's just raining, and that can wear you down. But that's only happened like twice in the past 15, 16 years I've been up here. Yeah, it's not that often. Yeah, overall, yeah. Well, what I really, really do miss, from Texas is barbecue. And the food, specifically what you can't get up here that is kolaches. So it's a Czech.
Mm.
A lot of Czech live in Texas. Right after Spanish, it's Czech is like the next most spoken language in Texas. So yeah, Czechoslovakian food permeates a lot of Texas. So the kolaches, yeah, I came up here and I was asking friends, and not friends, but coworkers, like, oh, where can I get a kolache? And I just can't find kolaches. And they're like, what's a kolache?
What's a kolache?
They just
It's
didn't
a
know.
hard one on the heart, right?
Yeah, I know. But yeah, so kolaches, yeah, I miss those. And just the taco, Tex-Mex, type tacos
Yeah,
that you
it
can.
is different. I know I traveled to DC a lot, and even the Mexican food there, it's like just north enough where it's different.
Different.
It's
Yeah,
good.
it's
It's
good,
just
but it's
not
different.
Tex-Mex.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah, so that I miss that a lot. Like as soon as I go back home, one of the first things I'll do is go to one of the taquerias that'll just have like the little buffet options. You just tell them what you want. Put your little breakfast tacos together. We don't have that up here. Yeah.
Sounds like a business opportunity.
Right. Yeah. If you replace Mexican restaurants with like teriyaki joints, then you got Seattle. So instead of Mexican restaurants, it's just all teriyaki joints. Good times.
Well, now I'm gonna have to send you some barbecue, is what it sounds
Yes,
like.
please do. Please do. I'll put it to good use.
Well, I know it's not your industry, but I'm going to ask because you're
Mhm.
over in Washington. I'm
Mhm.
down here in Texas. I'm in the cannabis space.
Mhm.
What's the cannabis industry like where you are? I know that there's some
Sure. Well, I mean,
legalization.
yeah, they legalized it. I don't know, probably like 8 or 9 years ago, something like that. And I think it's what you would expect. They have the stores, opened up, and there's areas where there's usually lots of them. But I think it's kind of stabilized. I'm not in the middle of it a lot. Every now and then I'll bump into someone who's part of that industry. Either they're growing it, or I think mainly just growing it. I just bump into people that are on the growing side of it, the supply side. But I don't get a lot of news. It looks like it's pretty successful and thriving.
That's good. Yeah. I mean,
Good
there
for
are a
them.
lot of growers or cultivators in
Yeah.
that part of the region. I think it's just the weather conditions are so much better for the cannabis plant. We have established some hemp growers here in Texas, and it's actually quite a lot. We've got over 500,000 outdoor acres that are dedicated to growing hemp in Texas
Nice.
since they legalized, but it's still not, the weather is not as conducive to growing, really good quality stuff just yet. So I still run into a lot of people here in Texas, and we're not fully legal. So what we have are hemp strains that are legal. And you can still get some hemp strains that are psychoactive. So, but a lot of people are sourcing them from Washington, Oregon, Colorado, and other places. So, just curious, like what your take is on that, and
I think it's a thriving business.
I'm all for it if it's going to help with growing an economy, growing an industry. Not just for my own benefit, but just for the community as a whole. So.
Yeah, I haven't seen any negative ramifications of it. In fact, I bet if we look, we'll see just like it's just more positive now. Like you're trying to solve a problem, that couldn't be solved, and so just legalize it and regulate it. Yeah, I mean, I personally don't use hemp products, so I couldn't tell you like anything more than what I've seen, but I see lots of stores, lots of thriving businesses. I don't see anybody complaining about the transition to legalization. So I think it's a model, like along with Colorado, it's just like, okay, they did it, and looks like, not an issue. So.
Yeah, I think at some point there will be more data to collect, right? Yeah. And then, being able to do some analysis on that. One that came out of Colorado that I thought was really interesting is they correlated cannabis sales with fostering and adoption. And they noticed that with a higher increase in cannabis, there were lower levels of children entering the foster system.
Interesting. So it
Yeah,
kind of speaks to maybe like there's some like a domestic piece to this that's helping keeping kids in their homes.
yeah, so I thought that was really fascinating. Now, again, it was only like a few counties in one state. I think it'd be
Mhm.
really curious to see like what that looks like across all
Yeah,
legal states.
yeah. I mean, I think there's a place for it, and there's studies that need to be done. Yeah. So
Absolutely. There'll
yeah,
be
no,
more and
that's
more of
really
that
good.
for the next 50 years. So we'll see
Mhm. Yeah.
before anything really interesting comes out of it.
Mhm.
So, all right, well, back to talk. Let's see. What's your journey look like next? What is the next big things for Meow Talk?
Well, with MeowTalk, I mean, we're definitely looking at creating more categories of translations. Like I told you that we believe there's up to 20, and the app can translate 13. So we want to explore ways to get what the gap is, what the missing piece is, and obviously pushing to improve the accuracy is also big on our list as well. So those are the main ones. The app isn't going to transform into like something different. It's going to be a cat translator app, but maybe we can think of ways where we can make those translations more useful and more helpful. So that's also what we're doing. And the concept is still pretty solid. Like people want to understand what their cats are saying. So we want to help them do that as well. So there may be some improvements that we can make to the user experience on how they use this data. One of the biggest use cases that we see that is very powerful is that people will want to memorialize their cats. So essentially their cat will pass away. But now they have like this long history of cat meows that they forgot were there or they knew, but now it holds a new meaning for them and they can hear their cat's voice, because most people won't record their cat, to like take a video of it maybe once a year, but like most people just don't do that. So they use this app. They've got potentially hundreds of meows, and that's also very, very memorable and therapeutic for people to kind of go back and relive those meows and histories. So if we can somehow enhance that as well, that's also something we're looking into. How can we improve this memorialization piece and let people kind of relive or re-explore, their cat after it's passed away?
I think
Very,
that's
very,
really
very, very
fantastic.
moving stuff. Like the emails we get, we get a broad spectrum of emails, but there's one category of thank you. I didn't know I needed this. Listening to my cat's meow after he passed away brought tears to my eye. Listening to it with my daughter, blah blah blah. Like I don't want to minimalize it, but it is incredibly powerful when I see those emails, because it's just rich with emotion, gratitude, thanks, and I know that this meant a lot to these particular owners.
Yeah,
Like
I mean, I'm
a
not gonna
very
lie, I got
emotional.
goosebumps as you were talking about it.
Yeah.
So you did not diminish it at all. And it's something that I didn't even think about, but now it's in the back of my mind, like, oh, like
Mhm,
I have been through a couple of very cherished pets, and I would
mhm,
love to have that. I've got the paw prints, and
mhm.
I have the memories,
Yeah,
but
there
to
you
be
go.
able
No,
to
that's
hear
right.
them again is like that's that's
That's
giving
right.
somebody something for sure. That's amazing.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, it is. It
They
is.
are
Yeah, it
your
was.
your family, right? Like you love your pets as much
Yes, they
as
are. No, they absolutely are. Yeah, yeah. Like you treat them just like people. Some cats have a greater ability to express emotions, and others are a little bit more kind of just wild-eyed. So they're just kind of feral. But there's a spectrum. But there are cats out there that are just like people. They don't have the same advantages as dogs. So the cats, they express their intents, through their vocalization and their body language, but they don't have the muscles in their face to express emotions and feelings. So they're always going to give you like a real blank stare. Dogs, different. Dogs have about 5 to 10 sounds they can make. It's much, much more limited, but they have all the muscles for the facial expressions. So when you look at a dog's face, you can see the same spectrum of emotions as you see on a person. And dogs and packs use that to communicate to each other. Like if they're scared, happy, they want to, they make eye contact with you to acknowledge that what you want them to do. Yeah, cats can't really do that, or they don't do that well because they lack the muscles. But I do have one cat that does make eye contact with me. Like it's kind of scary sometimes. He just constantly makes eye contact you no matter where you go and doesn't break it. And it's eye contact. It's not just looking at my body or my feet or my general direction. He's looking at my eyes. So I move up, down, left, behind the fridge. He's just looking at my eyes. So that one we feel like, that one's a person. Like we really feel like we're talking to a little old man. So I can imagine people. I mean, that this is their family. Like I totally can see how they can think that, because we do that with some of our cats.
Did you always know so much about cat
No,
linguistics and their
no, no.
behaviors that it all came
This
through?
all, so I was always curious about it. And every now and then I'd come across a story, because the idea of studying cat vocalizations, you can find research that goes back literally over 100 years, but it didn't really start getting professional until like the last 10, 15 years, where people were really focused on it, doing scientific studies, categorizing, recording stuff. So it's really came together rather in just the past, 10, 15 years. But that book that I told you about, Secret Language of Cats, by Dr. Schultz, that's not how you pronounce her name. She's Swedish, but it's as close as I can get. That one really opened the door for me for like really exploring this, and I learned a bit more and just kept reading more on it as I got more fascinated by it. So long story short, nope, I have not been a cat expert. I still am not a cat expert. But over the past 5 or 6 years, I've really beefed up on my understanding of cat vocalizations and how they work.
Hey, 5 years, that equates to that 10,000 hours you need. So
Yeah, I know, right?
I think you can count yourself as an expert at this point.
Yeah, probably close. Yeah, probably close. Yeah, probably just need to pass one test, somewhere.
Yeah.
But I definitely know more than the average person, but probably quite not ready to write my book yet.
What's something that you've learned about cats and their behaviors or the way that they communicate that you were surprised about?
Yeah. So they have all their various cycles. I think the facial expression component and the vocalization component was a big one for me. Like knowing that they had that kind of trade-off. They can't communicate with their facial expression, but they can with their voice and their body language. That one was really interesting. Trying to find like the commonality between cat behaviors and people, and how there is overlap. That was kind of interesting to me as well. um how cats like they go through their cycles, where they're aggressive and territorial. Another big one is that cats are, so this is kind of getting to like studying the behaviors. Cats get anxiety when you separate them from a space, not from a person. So if you take them out of the home, for example, and take them to a new home, they'll freak out, and they all exhibit the same kind of behaviors when they do that. So those signs are universal as well. Like they'll go and they'll run into a closet or hide somewhere if they go into a new space that they're not familiar with, because they feel threatened. So that's kind of, those kind of things. What else?
Talk about the cat cycles a little bit, because this is the first time I've really ever heard of it. Like, and now that I'm thinking about it, I mentioned I have a 12-year-old cat. Like she has these phases.
Yeah.
And she goes through like these down times, and then like times when she gets
Mhm.
really active and she wants to be playful, and then like she wants to be friendly with the other cats, and then she changes her mind, 3, 4 months later. So what is it that you know about these cycles that you can help educate our cat listeners?
Yeah, so the big ones are the heat cycles, because those can be very disruptive in the house and almost damaging as well. So the male and the female cat, they each have their heat cycles. The female cats, it's going to be, if they're not fixed, right, it'll be, could be as often as once a month. But maybe it could be as less often as every 6 months. Okay, so now you're going to hear a lot of yowling and howling, and it's loud, and it's at 3 a.m. That's an interesting cycle as well. And then there's another cycle with the males, and then they're basically just urinating on everything. So that's really
Does it happen
very,
more when they're younger? Like, does it go away, or is it mostly like
I don't think,
forever
well,
unless?
for the male cats, I mean, I have one that's like 6, 7 years old. We recently got him fixed, like 6 months ago. But before that, I mean, he was just, marking everything, like very often, very regularly. After we got him fixed, that stopped, and we're lucky because that doesn't always happen. Sometimes they just continue the behavior. But yeah, the marking, we really didn't want to fix him because, we just like the idea of being able to have a litter from him since he's such a beautiful cat. But it was just getting too destructive. I mean, it was just getting out of hand. So yeah, the cycles, these, cats have their cycles. Also, if they're not feeling well, then you'll have litter box issues. So instead of getting mad at a cat when it doesn't use the litter box correctly or uses it outside, that's actually probably a sign that they're not feeling well or there's another issue. So learning to read those sort of behaviors, that's also new, and I didn't realize that as well.
Are you finding that some users of your app are utilizing it in a way to kind of help at least acknowledge if like I don't feel well, like is that helping them?
Yeah, I've had a lot of people, there's been a lot of customers that have responded via email and notifications that their cat was expressing through the app, some sort of pain. I'm in pain, or I don't feel well, and they took their cat, to the vet, and there was a thorn in their paw, or there was it had some sort of illness, or maybe even cancer in some cases. Like we get a steady little trickle of those sort of stories. So I do know that it helps. And as I told you, the accuracy of the app isn't 100%. So there's always the opportunity there, to get the wrong interpretation, because the cat could just be stressed. It doesn't necessarily mean he's actually injured or has some sort of internal pain. It could just be stress. So the real translation for that, when you get the "I'm in pain" or "I don't feel well" translation from the app, is it would be more accurate to classify that as stress. Like, I feel stressed. I am stressed right now for whatever reason. Could be that they want to go outside, or they want some food, or they can't find their toy. There's thousands of reasons why they could be stressed. Now, I think if your cat is consistent and is chatty, because if the cat doesn't meow, then you're not going to get anything from the app. But if your cat is chatty and they are consistent, then you can discover behaviors like, oh, my cat's always stressed when in this particular situation, and maybe connect some dots and help with that. So it can be helpful, and people can use this as a tool to help understand and explore their cat's personality and needs. And that's the vision. Like, the whole idea behind the MeowTalk app is to help you explore your cat's vocabulary, personality, so that you can understand it and build a stronger bond with it. Because if you understand your cat, then your cat's gonna, as a direct response from that, your cat's going to live a longer, healthier life, because you're going to be able to love it more, understand it more, give it what it needs. So that's the vision. Like, the end result of all of this is you're going to get a happier cat that lives longer and lives healthier. And this app has a part to play in that.
So will I ever be able to meow at my cat?
Oh yeah, you can do it right now. You don't need the app to make that. You just go for it, and I can coach you. I can coach you.
All right. Do you meow at your cat? You've recognized?
I'll meow at them, but it's just, I'm just playing around. Like, I'm not actually trying to do any one of the.
I just copy the way they sound, and then they look at me like I'm crazy. So
yeah.
I assume I'm saying it
wrong. My personal opinion on that is, like, let's say that you could, do a perfect meow back to them, or you could, do some sort of translation in reverse. I don't think they would really like listen to it. Okay, I feel like they hear it, but they don't connect it, because they need to see a cat too. They can't just see a person. So my feeling is like it wouldn't be something that would work. Maybe with some cats it would, but I think in general they need to see a cat face and the meow together. to get it. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe if you do it enough, right?
Yeah, evolution, you never know. They may need it 20 years from now.
Yeah, maybe so.
So let's talk a little bit about some business side of things. Like,
Sure.
what kind of competitors do you have? Like, are other people out there trying to make any?
Not that I know of. No, nothing.
Okay.
The only thing that's kind of like in the same ballpark are the soundboards where you can just play all the cat sounds.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Yeah.
but I think all of those are just for fun. Like they just play just some random cat meow, and it's not really tied to a scientifically determined intention. So the soundboards, but those are just entertainment. Those are just fun. There's nothing out there that actually translates vocalizations right now. There is maybe one or two apps that will do facial recognition just to detect if the cat is in pain. There are facial expressions a cat can make if they're in pain. Their whiskers will be at a certain angle, and their mouth will be at a certain angle, and their ears. So you look at that, you can kind of correlate that to like a frowny face, like I'm not feeling well. There's an app that does that, but it doesn't look like it. I don't know how accurate it is. It doesn't look like it's got a lot of traction. So long story short, there's no competition.
Not much. All right.
Mm-mm.
What about like your market segments? Like how are you how big do you want this app to be? How are you?
Well, I mean, we're pretty happy with the numbers we've seen. It's, from a numbers perspective, it's phenomenal. It's over 14 million users to date, and that's like over like roughly a two-year period. So lots of users have downloaded this and used it.
That's fantastic.
It's not a small number. 14 million, might be more now. I'll have to double check it. 14 million users. Okay. I can't remember off the top of my head how many cat profiles were created, but it would be somewhere. It would be a little bit less than that, but it'd be somewhere in the ballpark of that many millions of cat profiles. The number of cat meows recorded using the app and translated is over 250 million. So we're talking like 270 million cat meows translated. So
wow.
A small number. That's a lot of meows. And our target demographic in this case is women that are cat owners. Those are our primary users. But the next one is kids, and that's everything, every gender, all the way up to age, 12, 13, 14. Those lots of kid users as well. But our main focus is women cat owners.
Very cool. Mm-hmm. That's a large amount of meows recorded.
Oh yeah, it's a crazy amount. It's kind of hard to imagine like what that means. What does 250 million meows look like?
Right. There's got to be some good sounds you can put together. Make some playlists.
Make some playlists.
Somebody needs the ASMR cat meows to go to sleep at night.
That may be something. Maybe we could do the purrs. I bet we have a lot. We have a lot of therapeutic purrs for sure. Something there. There's something there.
Well, very cool. No, this is great. I have learned a lot from you today. I really appreciate it. I'm going to think differently about how my cats communicate with me going forward.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and I'm definitely going to get this book, Secret Language of Cats.
By great book. Yeah, very good read.
Dr.
It's not that long either.
Or whatever their name is.
Yeah, Dr. Schultz. Yeah, I've heard her pronounce her name on her. She has some YouTube videos, and she literally pronounced her name. Her name is Dr. Schitz. So, but I prefer to say Schultz because got the German. It's got a Swedish O with the two umlaut dots on top of it, and I guess it's pronounced as a E sound. But no, she literally pronounces her name, Dr. Schitz. So
that's hard. It's hard to have.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Schultz. I like that a little bit better.
Well, thank you, Javier, for joining us today. This has been fantastic.
You're welcome.
And I look forward to sharing your app with the people who watch this podcast, and follow me on Instagram.
Okay.
Cheers.
All right. Thank you. It was a pleasure.